Welcome back to Prosperity Pep Talks. Today's going to be on the shorter side for a few reasons. One is that I'm pretty sure I'm at the tail end of my daughter's nap right now. Another is that my phone is on low battery. Another is that I need to edit the fireside transmission that I just recorded for the hearth. With that being said, I didn't want to miss today's Prosperity Pep Talk, especially because it is a full moon. So magical. And I think we can utilize some of that energy in our talk today. So one of the things that I have been percolating, and to be quite fair, I don't have this completely figured out yet. Maybe we'll figure it out here together. Is this idea of sacred feminine in business and what that means in terms of like feminine and masculine business. And so if you're not joining me for the first time, Prosperity Pep Talks are short transmissions, and I talk about matriarchal and sacred leadership. We talk about how to activate your work as a sanctuary for your soul's calling so that your offerings can become a force for healing, magic, love, and liberation. I am an initiated priestess. I come from a lineage of spiritual leaders and female entrepreneurs. I've built my business as my devotional offering. I guide sacred healers and leaders to weave their medicine and modalities into sovereign wealth-building movements. Welcome to Prosperity Pep Talks. So one of the things that I want to talk about today is a concern that has been brought to me by, or a question, I suppose, that has been brought to me by several people in my community over the years. And it's like this idea of feminine business versus masculine business, which in this context, it's like the idea is, well, the way that business is often done is masculine. This idea of the binary, right? Of like masculine is direction and structure and containment. Feminine is creation, intuition, relational wisdom. And I actually feel that the way that I view feminine business is not like that at all. It is not the binary. It is more similar to the way that we talk about patriarchy versus matriarchy, right? Patriarchy is hierarchy, men, women, children, all other beings like animals on the planet. And the matriarchy is a circle where life is at the center and seen as sacred, and we're all protecting life and creating the sense of belonging for one another. And I kind of see feminine business not in opposition to masculine business or like the more toxic, like capitalist, patriarchal business, but more of like in a different paradigm entirely. Like it's not like this passive, like I'm just constantly in my intuition type of business, but more of how can I be in relationship to my business in a way that is cyclical, that is honoring my life and my priorities, that is a vehicle for the most magic for me and for all of the people that I work with. And so I want to invite us into this idea that sacred feminine business could function in a few different ways. It could be a sacred feminine business simply because you are creating offerings in alignment with your own spiritual belief system, which is rooted in the divine feminine, right? That already makes it a sacred feminine business. It could be a feminine business because you are prioritizing cycles. And this is something the divine feminine is really great at teaching us, is how to live cyclically. And that doesn't mean that like the binary of masculine is not part of your business. But I want us to like move beyond binaries and look at sacred feminine as this way of being in relationship to our bodies, to our businesses, to each other, to the earth. And this is available to all of us, regardless as what anatomy we hold or gender expression we hold. If you are somebody who feels called to sacred feminine business and you have this idea of like, well, that means that I'm passive and that it's slow and that I'm just always in touch with my intuition. And if I'm hustling and if I have these structures, that means I'm in the masculine. I want to just help you release that idea, because you can have a divine feminine business that is very structured. And just because you are working on structures in your business doesn't mean you're not connected to the feminine. And it's just not, I don't think that it's a binary. Perhaps it's more of a response to patriarchy, right? Which is holding hands with a lot of isms. One of them is toxic capitalism. And so perhaps feminine business is a feeling and a language that we're utilizing to ask ourselves, like, how can we create something that isn't harming ourselves and the planet? How can we create something that feels in co-creation with the natural cyclical ways of being? How can we hold hands with this reverence for creation itself? These are just some ideas that have been percolating for me. If you have thoughts or questions or anything that you want to talk about in regards to sacred feminine business, I would love to be in conversation with you. You can comment below this video. You can send me a message. You can send me an email. And if you are curious about exploring what it looks like to grow your business in devotion to the divine feminine, in working with sacred spiritual technologies that are rooted in divine feminine work, I would love to invite you into the Hearth. So the Hearth is my temple for sacred business. And in the Hearth, we do everything that you would do in your high-level business courses and mentorships. So we have a challenge, and we have a course, and we have a community, and we have monthly workshops, but it's structured like a temple. So the monthly workshops are new and full moon ceremonies. That's what I just recorded before this. We have our course, but it goes through ceremonially and experientially through ritual, how to create, market, and scale an offer that's in accordance with your soul's wisdom. We also have the kindling, which is like a challenge, but it is cultivating a daily devotional practice with your business through ceremony, strategy, and content prompts. And then we also have the community. Finally, my favorite piece is the archetypal transmissions, which is your leadership initiation. So you can learn all about that and more at hearthtemple.com. I link the Hearth in my bio and also in the show notes where I post this. I post this on Instagram, where I'm doing this live, and YouTube and Substack and my podcast. So wherever you watch this or listen to this, you can find the Hearth information there. And again, I would love to hear from you. This is something that I feel is a continued evolution and conversation. For me, I know that sacred feminine business is simply just according to my own spiritual belief systems, which is that I worship this divine feminine that feels like not only am I worshiping the goddess, Mother Earth, and the mother of all creation, but also my body. And this isn't the belief system for everyone, but it is the belief system for many of us. And it is a really beautiful belief system and way of being in spiritual relationship with the universe, because it counterbalances a lot of the toxic conditioning that many of us have experienced and continue to experience in the culture that we're in. So I hope that this offered you some inspiration, some insight. Again, I would love to hear from you, and I will see you soon for another Prosperity Pep Talk. If you're curious to explore the full moon ceremony I just did in the Hearth, I would invite you to go check that out. The ceremony was all about creating a sense of belonging for yourself and others in your business. So creating a sense of belonging for yourself and others in your business. That was the ceremony we did. There was a guided visualization, a card pull. It was really beautiful. It was a guided ritual, essentially, but through the lens of business work. So that is our full moon transmission in the Hearth for this month, and I'll be doing a new moon transmission in a couple of weeks. All right, my loves, I'll see you soon for another prosperity pep talk. Blessings to you.